Hi, I'm Kate Rhoads.
And I'm Eli Thorne.
And with our dear friend Ann McClintock, who wrote Imperial Leather, Race Cross-Dressing, and the Cult of Domesticity, we're going to take you through a comprehensive BDSM strength training cardio workout.
Yes.
Now go with Ann McClintock back to the Victorian era, where we will meet our inspiration for this workout, Arthur Munby and Hannah Colwick. Transport your mind back. The smoke in the air.
Puritanical lust in your heart.
And the burden of bourgeois expectations in your soul. Arthur Munby, a upper-class gentleman, and Hannah Colwick, servant and secret lover.
And former middle-class lady.
What happened?
Her dad lost a bunch of money through business transactions. Then they just got really poor.
Yep.
But she comes from a family of middle class, like merchants and stuff.
Basically, Arthur Munby and Hannah Colwick started a S&M clandestine love affair. Mm-hmm. Eventually got married but never told anyone. And basically had this whole freaky thing going on. So we're going to lead you through a workout where you're also going to explore your own bondage and sadomasochistic desires and work up a sweat.
Yes. I guess it's important in most relationships, but especially in sadomasochistic partnerships, to have a specific guidelines and rules and safety negotiations, basically, as to what your limits are and what you're comfortable doing, whether it be with what kind of tools or toys or both that you're going to use.
You want to talk to your partner before you start and make sure each of you knows your limits and expectations. You want to have a safe word.
Yes.
Which is kind of the fail-safe, the ripcord on your parachute. There are ways that you can let your partner know if something's kind of pushing your limits without popping the safe word. But when it's time where you're just like, I can't take any more of this, you pop the safe word. What's our safe word, Eli?
Yeah, I think our safe word is going to be butterfly.
Perfect.
Yeah. Say you have a gag in or something, you could pick a safe action. I don't know what the hell that is.
Like a twirl, a finger twirl in the air.
Perfect. Yeah.
So let's get right down to it.
Let's do it. Let's get hot and painfully sweaty.
And dirty. So what you're going to need for this workout is, optionally, you can wear a pair of leather boots. Not your usual workout footwear, but definitely put you in the mood. Also, you're going to need a bucket of dirt. Hannah Colwick with Arthur Munby would wear a leather band on her wrist to signify her servitude to Arthur Munby. So we're going to have the sub, because we're going to trade back and forth sub and dom roles in this workout. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to be the sub starting off, go ahead and put on a leather wristband or any kind of indicator of your role as a submissive person in the two-person pair. Also, a small broom and dustpan, if you have that available, and also, optionally, any kind of flogging device.
Right.
So now that you've got all your equipment ready, go ahead and kind of put that to the side and you're going to want a healthy amount of space around you and a space you don't mind getting dirty.
Yeah. And I think this is a good time to talk with your partner and imagine some sort of space, preferably a domestic household space.
Okay, so now that you've decided who's going to be the sub and who's going to be the dom, go ahead and start limbering up. And how we do this is the dom is going to help the sub stretch it right out. So starting with a hamstring leg push stretch, that is where the sub is going to lay down flat on their back on the ground with both legs extended. The dom is going to pick up one of those legs and kind of start to try to get to almost a 90 degree.
Correct.
You're probably not going to get that far depending on how flexible you are. And as you're doing that, really make eye contact with the sub. Let them know that you're in control.
Alpha beta.
You're in charge and you care for them. and the pain and the pleasure is coming from you.
Absolutely. And I think a variation of this stretch could be the dom doesn't touch the sub at all, but tells the sub how to do it, how hard to pull.
And you're going to feel that right in your hamstrings. That's from kind of your butt area to the back of your knee.
Yeah, and the stretch is going to continue through your butt and up your back also.
That's right. Okay, and you're going to want to do that with the other leg. Stretch it out real nice. We sometimes will do a little bit of name calling kind of stuff. Who's a bad little bitch? Other popular S&M roles, baby and daddy.
And I'd say hold those stretches for about 30 seconds on each leg.
That's right.
Yeah.
So then we're going to go ahead and stretch those arms out.
You put your arm up above your head and then bring your hand behind your back and your opposite hand on top of your elbow, and you pull down so you're stretching your triceps, and that goes down into your lats.
On each arm. This could be a good time for the dom. If you've got a flogger, you can just be lightly flogging around the butt and leg areas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you, again, want to make sure that you're going just hard enough to let them know you're there.
Yeah.
Not so hard to do any real damage.
Yeah. And then obviously there's, you can, depending on your experience with your partner in this, go full on if you are ready for that now.
Yes. Okay, so also, according to this Leather Sex book by Joseph W. Bean, another kind of stretching that you might be interested for this workout is nipples also can be stretched rather impressively. If they're pierced, it's better to stretch them by putting a piece of sturdy cord or string around the nipple so it runs up or down behind both sides of the jewelry. And then we're going to go ahead and do the old, oh, shoot, we forgot that our safe word is also in the stretches.
Oh, shit.
Let's change our safe word to asparagus.
Perfect.
And we're going to do some butterfly knee push stretches where you're going to sit down on the ground, legs open, but then bring your feet in together. Dom, get behind your sub, and you're going to push their knees down from behind to really get a good leg stretch in there.
Yes.
And how long should they do that?
Same, just about 30 seconds, or as long as you feel like you can hold the pain.
That's right.
Or however long your dom thinks you should be holding the stretch.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, now that you've gotten fully limbered up, let's switch roles. Take the wristband that was indicating the sub, switch it to the other partner. Now, dom, you're the sub, you're the dom, and just really get your body ready for the punishment it is about to take. And while you're at it, let's hear a little tidbit from Ann McClintock. In the late Victorian period, there were all these creepy philosophers that were trying to connect race and science in a very racist way, and they demonized sadomasochism as the psychopathology of the atavistic individual, a blood flaw and stigma of the flesh. They thought people that were into S&M were genetically inferior. But according to Ann McClintock, S&M is less a biological flaw or a pathological expression of natural male aggression and natural female passivity than it is an organized subculture shaped around the ritual exercise of social risk and social transformation. As a theater of conversion, S&M reverses and transforms the social meanings it borrows, so giving the oppressed the chance to feel the power of becoming the oppressor in a way, in a kind of role play, theatrical, consensual format.
Yeah. There's another...
Are you getting into it?
Yeah.
So now that you're all stretched out, we're going to get ready to get that butt working.
Shake it out.
Now, keep in mind, Hannah Colwick had such an arduous work life. She was out there sometimes cleaning up to 80 pairs of boots a week, just getting dirty and grimy. Sub, you're going to pick up your bucket of dirt, and we're going to do some walking lunges.
And it would probably be best to have mud or water in it.
Oh, yeah. If you're in a place where you can get really dirty.
Yeah. Yep.
That mud is way hotter than dry dirt.
That mud could get in your hair.
Yes.
And walking lunges, you're going to need, 10, 15 feet. Put one of your feet forward, and you're going to bend down at a 90 degree in your front leg. And
so from you're making a 90 degree at the knee.
Yeah, in actually both legs. And I think what's really important for this lunge is to remember balance, and the idea is to make sure that your body stays 90 degrees to your legs when you're going down.
And remember that your dom is watching you at every moment,
right.
and you better be doing this right.
Yeah, and as doms, make sure that the form is correct. Your sub is doing correct form on these.
And this would be a time to liberally use the flabs.
Absolutely.
And make sure you're making constant eye contact.
Yelling.
Yes.
Anything a little violent. Make sure that your knee just doesn't go over your toe in your front leg.
Let's do about 10 of these.
Yeah. So you'll walk and bend into the lunge, and then come back up, and then with your opposite foot goes forward and lunges.
That's correct.
Yeah. Let's hear from Ann McClintock. This states, the paraphernalia of S&M, boots, whips, chains, uniforms, is the paraphernalia of state power, public punishment converted to private pleasure. SM plays social power backward, visibly and outrageously staging hierarchy, difference and power, the irrational ecstasy or alienation of the body, placing these ideas at the center of Western reason. S&M thus reveals the imperial logic of individualism and refuses it as fate, even though it does not finally step outside the enchantment of its own magical circle.
Once again, take the armband off of the sub.
Get on top.
And just as we did before, go ahead and start those walking lunges. Do about 10 of those. Okay, you should really start to feel that in your glutes.
Hamstrings, quadriceps.
Calves, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Back.
And now we're going to go ahead and take that bucket of dirt, and we're going to do, again, like you would do with a kettlebell. You're going to stand with your legs about shoulder width apart.
Exactly.
Take that bucket of mud and set it kind of in between your legs, a little bit out ahead of you. Mm-hmm. And with both hands, grab the handle of that bucket, and you're going to do a lift.
We'll go into a squat to pick up the bucket, and then we'll come all the way up with the bucket and extend over your head.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. That's a double.
Be careful, don't lose that bucket.
Yeah.
Especially if you got sweaty, dirty, sexy hands.
Yes.
You don't want to lose your grip on that thing.
And you're going to squat down as low as you can. Grab the bucket handle or the bucket itself.
Oh, that's another way.
And then come up slowly. The slower you go, the harder it is. When the bucket is above your head, make sure that you're not fully extending your back.
For the dom in this situation, again, you can do some light taunting, teasing, maybe gentle touching or tickling. You want to maintain safety. We don't want any buckets falling on someone's head unintentionally.
Right. And I'd say with those lunges, do about 10 each. And remember to think about pushing yourself to your boundaries. And DOMs, remember to try and see how far your subs can go without ejecting that safe word. Kolwick is really into the size of her arms, and subsequently Mumby is super into it also, but I think there's something interesting obviously about gender and masculinity within that.
Yes, as our dearest friend Ann McClintock says, watching Kolwick's blackened male, in quotes, hand stroke, rub, and massage his male extremities. The S&M relationship between Kolwick and Mumby allowed Arthur Mumby to explore his own feminine side as he was kind of fetishizing the more masculine qualities of Hannah Kolwick.
Yeah.
Yes, her huge bulging biceps, her short haircut. Okay, once you've done 10 of those bucket lifts, go ahead and switch again. Swap the wristband. Sub becomes dom. Dom becomes sub. The topsy-turvy world we live in.
Yep.
And you're going to just repeat that same exercise for a count of 10.
You should be fairly sweaty.
You should be hot in every sense of the word.
And that reminds me of how fun would it be to turn up the heat really high in the room where you're doing this.
And pretend you're in like a Victorian coal-heated, right at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution.
There we go.
Get that last bucket of mud squat to lift in. That's 10. And now we're going to be doing some crunches. So the sub should lay back down on the ground, as they love to do because they're dirty, dirty sub.
Yep. Pillow princesses. This would be fun to think about what you're laying on. How painful would it be to do crunches on gravel or even cement? Just don't be comfortable when you're doing these crunches.
No.
Make your spine really grind into the floor.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, so you're going to lay down, put your feet, bend to your knee at a 45, knees, and then...
With your feet flat on the ground.
Absolutely. And then you're going to take your mud bucket and place it on your chest. And you're going to lift your back up and really concentrate on tightening your core and come up as slow as you can. It's harder the slower you go, as I said before. And make sure that the bucket touches your knees, and then go ahead and go back down.
And as you're doing this, the dom will be standing or kneeling beside you, and they should go ahead, dip their hands into that bucket, and start rubbing that mud or dirt all over the sub's feet. That's what Kolick and Mumby would be into, because Mumby loved to lick those boots.
Arms. Those strong arms.
Yep. Really do some fetishizing of their strong, muscular, manly arms. And let's go ahead and do 10 of those. Mumby would sometimes get Kolick to lick his boots, and he sometimes would taste the dirt on her boots to know where she had been that day. I don't know if I have that sophisticated of a taste sense. Okay, and the sub can get on up from the gravel or dirt or whatever they were laying in, and they're going to take off that wristband, pass it back over to the dom, and now dom, you're the sub now, and you go ahead and get down on the ground like the dirty birdie you are.
Yeah, and I think it would be fun if you happen to be laying on a hard surface to check out the redness on your spine or the darkness.
Yeah, look
or
at the impressions on the skin that has made, depending on what you're
Bruises
wearing.
maybe already happen.
If you're not wearing a full latex suit. And you're going to go ahead and repeat that same crunches exercise. There should be some mud left in that bucket, hopefully. Get that rubbed right on you. Now, Eli, did you know, I know you did, that Kolick and Mumby were secretly married after 19 years of their affair?
Well, she reluctantly married him.
Yes,
correct.
she didn't really want to do it, and they didn't really tell anyone that they had gotten married, and she just continued living as his maid, basically. And they only lived together for like a few years, right? And then she was like, I can't really handle this whole...
She's an independent woman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so she went back and had her own place for the rest of their marriage.
Yeah. Kolick's dogged will to independence expressed itself in a powerful, principled resistance to marriage.
Now that everyone's covered in mud and dirt, Dom, you're going to go ahead and do this kind of crisscross diagonal lunge where you take one foot and it's kind of going to come back and behind your front foot, okay? And you're going to do almost a curtsy kind of lunge.
Yes.
Because you're a very upper class gentleman.
Yes. And while the dom is doing those lunges, alternating feet, the sub is going to be on their knees and diligently cleaning with their spit and a rag the dirt off of the dom's boots.
That's
or
right.
sandals or feet.
And do that for about a count of 10.
And push really hard on these. This is your last exercise before we do a nice tender cool down.
Once you have your boots shiny and new.
Right, and if they're not as shiny as you want, is there punishment involved?
There should be.
Yeah.
Because someone's been a bad little baby.
Yeah, bad little sub.
Okay, and then for
we are really restraining ourselves here, people.
And then, so Dom, let's go ahead and let you take a little rest. You can lay down, do some deep breathing, and also some deep watching of the sub as they are sweeping up the dirt and cleaning up the mud on the ground with their little broom, or if you still have a rag, whatever you got.
Yeah, sweep
Start
up the
cleaning
dirt.
that up, and Dom, let your muscles rest as you watch your sub tend to you.
Right. Again, think about the pain that your knees will have on the hard surface, and then show off the discoloration that may have happened. The display of pain is paramount, yes.
And now for the very last end of our cool down, maybe a little bit of tenderness. Dom, if you want to, you can cradle the sub like a baby. Tell them they did a good job if they did a good job.
Some sweet kisses on the forehead.
The eyelids.
Yep.
If you're into that.
Yep.
Or just some light final flogging.
Washing with rags and water. Basically just taking care of each other, massaging, loving. And also, this is a good time to kind of maybe talk about, debrief your experiences, things that you enjoyed. What can you take on for next time, things to learn.
And we're going to conclude this S&M workout with another word from our dear personal friend, Ann McClintock. Now, dirt, Eli, according to our friend Anne, is what is left over after exchange value has been extracted. In Victorian culture, the bodily relation to dirt expressed a social relation to labor. The male middle class, like our good friend Arthur Munby, seeking to dismantle the aristocratic body and the aristocratic regime of legitimacy, came to distinguish itself as a class in two ways. It earned its living, unlike the aristocracy, and it owned property, unlike the working class. Unlike the working class, however, its members, especially its female members, could not bear on their bodies the visible evidence of manual labor. Dirt was a Victorian scandal because it was the surplus evidence of manual work, the visible residue that stubbornly remained after the process of industrial rationality had done its work. Dirt is the counterpart of the commodity. Something is dirty precisely because it is void of commercial value, or because it transgresses the normal commercial market. Now, take yourself out of the Victorian era.
Go ahead and enter the world now with a new perspective on power dynamics and sex.
And exercise.
Yay.